Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's time for a Jeep update. I'm Joe, ScaleFreak.com. What you see here is Clark. Yes, the Jeep's name is Clark. I didn't name it, my wife named it, but for a very, very good reason. And again, I will always reiterate that this is my wife's Jeep. If you watched the previous video of when we brought this thing home, you would have seen the state that it was in and all of the attachments that were on it. A lot of stuff that we were just not cool with. What, do you see the differences yet? Do you already see the differences? You already saw the front of it, but I'm going to talk about that in a second. Let's talk about the rear so far. So when this thing first showed up, it did have the spare tire rack. It also had a Smitty-built tube bumper on the back. The spare tire, I don't know, it's a look that I don't necessarily like. I like having this flat back look. What do you guys think? Comments below. Also, the tube bumper that was on here, not a big fan of it. So that was one of the first things to go, was the spare tire and the tube bumper. Oh, also, we did have this top off so far for the entirety that we've owned the Jeep. We actually just put it back on today because it's been cold and it's been rainy. And a few days ago, I had this thing out in a torrential monsoon and filled the entire Jeep with 2 inches of water. No joke. Back up to the front. I mean, you can see here, number one, that front Smitty-built tube bumper is gone. I searched all over and I found myself an amazing price on a stock TJ front bumper. But guys, this is not the end look that we're going for. What's actually gonna happen, we will wind up with a winch right on the front there. I'm gonna put those tow hooks back on the front, paint them whatever color Tosh wants, and we're gonna cut the bumper right about there. So when you look at it from the front, you will only have bumper till about here, and then it will be just wide open tire. That way, anything that she wants to hit with that tire, that big tire right there, it's all hers. We also redid the headlights with LED headlights. That is like the #1 Jeep upgrade ever. Please do that to your Jeep if you have one. And these bad boys here, if you guys again look back in that previous video, there was a set of XJ fender flares on here that were not my favorite thing in the whole world. Ketty had a set of these EAG flares laying around, these ABS flares, so we threw them on the front and the back. It opens it up a lot. Super easy install on those things. The only thing is I'm gonna have to do is take this thing to a body shop, because what you can't see behind this, I move like I'm gonna move behind it, is that the original guy who I bought this from, he just held the flare up against it and they just started smashing screws into the body metal. So there's a whole bunch of holes behind there. I've got them silicone right now just to keep it from rusting out, but it's gonna need a little bit of help. Under the hood is the stock 4.0 liter that comes in these bad boys here, inline 6. Nice little motor. Terrible on gas. That is a 100% certainty, but you never buy a Jeep for gas. It's a miles per gallon kind of thing, right? But what we've done in here so far, of course, #1 thing, drop the oil, put the proper oil filter on. There was kind of a really crappy, just put it on there to get the job done oil filter that I don't trust, so I put the proper Mopar filter on. We also got an AEM dry flow air filter, original cooler or intake box. Of course, we're not going to change any of that stuff, but I wanted to get a really good rechargeable filter that was oilless, so I got that in there, and it ended up actually being cheaper than the Mopar air filter. The one that was in there before was just choking the car. Whoever had this thing before me didn't do any services to the vehicle, so I'm kind of going through a few of the things. But the good news is that I have a buddy of mine who works for Dodge. He pulled the VIN number and says that this Jeep, from pretty much from the beginning of life, has seen more dealer service than anything he's ever seen. Transmission was recently serviced. I think he said the differentials were too, but he looked at it and his jaw dropped the floor and he's like, I can't believe how well someone took care of this thing. But I want to show you something that kind of lends to that. So check this out. I did tell you that I filled this Jeep full of water. There was, no kidding, 2 inches of water on the floor. So I had to tear all the carpets out and let them dry. Look at the floor underneath. This is a 15-year-old Jeep, and look at the metal. I'm gonna take a look at that. I want to take a look just kind of what's going on here. This is super solid, but I want to keep it that way. And of course we've got all of this stuff can be replaced. And then if I take a look all the way over here, again, this was all under carpets. There's the back floor, like unreal. So I just pulled out those plugs there, drained the water out of the vehicle. And then up on the front, That's what the passenger floor looks like. Look at, again, 15-year-old Jeep. And underneath here, I actually took a wire wheel to it and cleaned it up and then just put some paint down so it looks super, super clean. But anybody that looks at this vehicle, they just keep saying, my God, like, I can't believe what you got into for that money and for that year. This thing is absolutely amazing. One of the key things to remember is this Jeep is sitting at over 345,000 kilometers. That is a lot. Do the math from the kilometers to the miles. This thing is, it's had a life, but it looks like it's had a life of absolute dealer service. It also looks like this thing's never even seen off of a parking lot before. Whoever owned this thing before took extreme care of it, so it looks like it's gonna do its rough years with us. And my wife is absolutely in love with this Jeep. Now, why does she call it Clark? Well, here's the trick. We have a plan. We want to move into overlanding. We want to do summer vacations and traveling down to Arizona, traveling to California, traveling to the East Coast, the West Coast in our Jeep. Well, this one might not be the one that we do 36-hour drives in. That's coming in the future. But this is the one that's going to start us in our family vacations. This is what we're going to do. Maybe take off to Maine, maybe take out to Minden, maybe go down into the States, into Pennsylvania, and just find some stuff that we can do to cut our teeth and get started. But that's the trick. It's for our family vacations. And who is in family vacation? Well, Clark Griswold. Guys, if you guys have seen National Lampoon, you must know who Clark Griswold is. So when she said that this is going to be our gateway to getting and doing stuff as a family and having our fun as a family and stuff like that, she goes, that's it. We'll name the Jeep Clark. So, ladies and gentlemen of Scale Freak, of the Scale Nation, Clark. Yeah. So one more thing I want to mention about this thing here. It's a really, really important thing to mention. My wife does almost all the work on this Jeep. I did put the fender flares on, but I had her do one first so she knew what to do. Even when I changed out all the lug nuts and the wheels and stuff like that, I had her do one so she knew that she could do it all. She dropped the oil by herself on her own. She did all of that stuff, the air filter. I got spark plugs coming in. She's going to be doing that one as well. So anytime there's any work done to this Jeep, she either does all of it or she does the most of it, and then she has to go in and take care of Bear because he's our kid, but he likes her better. So that's Clark, and there's going to be a lot more adventures on this, and I'm really looking forward to some of the stuff that we're going to do. It is an amazing Jeep. This thing is absolutely amazing. So for anybody who has not seen it before, this is a 2004 LJ. You can see that the it's 10 inches longer on the back end, considered the holy grail of Jeeps. And we got it! All right, guys, please remember, yes, there will still be RC videos. I know that's why the majority of you here are, but I obviously am extremely excited about Clark, and we use this to go scaling and stuff like that. But click like, subscribe, comment, share throughout your community, and post below about how much you love your Jeep or how much you would love to get a Jeep. On that Rubicon video I posted, there's a whole bunch of people that posted that because of my video, they went and bought a Jeep. So I want to hear about it. Guys, thanks for watching.